Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to look at AFL Supercoach after round 5 of the 2025 season. So an average week this week for us, back to best 22, and we scored a 21-41, which did see a slight increase overall, but we didn't get the league win. And as you can see, it was only top 23% for the round. So want to do a little bit better than that, but it could be a lot worse, I guess. So if we have a look at the team and how they went, yeah, that's fine. So Harry Sheasel with a 102, so I think back-to-back hundreds, which is nice given what we paid for him. Jordan Clark with a 104 continues to just consistently chug along with hundreds. Tom Stewart was a late out again. Thought he was locked in to play, so we missed out on some points there, which is unfortunate. Well, actually, it worked out okay in the end. Roberts with the 79, so I guess sort of starting to dip a bit given the impact of probably Bice in particular, who I guess now we've mentioned him with an 89, has jumped up to 286k. So what's that? It's like 170k in 2 weeks with a negative 42 break even. You love to see it. Fryer, though, has been a bit disappointing. So, again, just we got on thinking he looked good and he just hasn't delivered. So, a 50 and very much on the chopping block this week. Trainer was good, though, with an 80, and Zach Reed, we missed out on 104 on the bench. So, like I said, if we could have put that in for Tom Stewart, it would have been lovely, but it is what it is. In the midfield, though, we did get the right captaincy shout this week. Andy Brayshaw with 155, which I'm pretty sure was the top across the whole league. So you could not get a better captaincy option than Brayshaw this week. But given my rank, I don't think I was alone in that pick. Will Ashcroft's moved up now to M2, which is pretty wild, with a 112 this week. Saligo, my super pod, came in and only scored a 63, so the row of tons has been broken. He actually lost some money on that 63, which is a bit flat, but we won't panic yet. Adam Chera with a 117 continues to go well. Clary with an 86, he's averaging 97, so we won't worry too much there. Finn Callahan continues to leak cash with just the 82 this week. Levi continues to be awesome, 90 for him. And he's also made, well, actually, he's probably only made about 90k or something. Yeah, 90k, but still got negative break even. So no stress there. Hall, we ended up playing because Sardis, I don't know, he was on the emergency list, so I don't know if he's dropped or if he is still injured. But 52 for Clay Hall is not the worst score of our team. And the emergency Henderson with just a 13. Not sure if he was a sub or if he just got stuck forward and got none of it. The Ruck, so TDK continues to kill it with a 118, but I think it's not too long before Pitnet's back and he loses the solo Ruck. And Tristan Cherry, I think, might still be struggling with that hamstring in 83, but we're not trading him out just yet. And then the forward line, so Horn Francis continues his revival after being on the brink of being cut with a 119. Jack McRae, sort of, I guess, for what he's been producing this season, a 70 is a bit disappointing, but he does have mid status now, which is nice. Caleb Daniel with 116 continues to just be awesome. Marriage with an 84. Yep, making money, we'll take that. Humphrey with a 74, so another mid-price pick that has died off as soon as we brought them in. But, I guess that can happen with these sort of picks. Davidson with the 61 continues to move up, although I think his break-even is fairly high now. We'll have a look in a minute. Kako with 38 on the bench, and our flex Xavier Lindsay with a 48. Probably was actually the score that dropped off in the end, so it sort of worked out that we got the 22 if you do include trainers, 80 as an emergency. So if we have a look at the head-to-head this week, so Zip Zip 03 Robert's team got me by about 60 points. So if we have a look at Rob's team, so he's got Bailey Smith. So this is coming back to haunt me, not going with Baz. Um, he's not out of reach at 460k, so it might be an option to get on. Dunkley with just an 88, Zorko with an 82. So I guess obviously didn't buy these guys at the peak. But Captain Gorn, so a nice sort of match for my awesome captaincy score there with a 145 for Maxi. Who did he play this week? Was it West Coast or something? I don't know. Can't remember. No, he's got West Coast coming up. Played Essendon. So it looks like he is finding a bit of form. So at 580, if you are looking to trade in the rucks, I think he is the man. He did have Brayshaw as well, I've just noticed. Connor Rosie with a 137, good bounce back from him. Powell Pepper with a 101, so another player we got off early doors and would have been a good number this week. But have a look across the league. So City Sushi up there with a 22-20, a 23-23 for East Valley United. Looks like Matt's got the top score this week. Well done, Matt. So let's have a look at how he's gone and done it. So Rankin with a 91. Lockie Neal as captain with just a 90. So he has gone. He played Reed, has Rosie, has Bailey Smith, has Brayshaw. So all the big hitters in the team this week. Has Horn Francis. Yeah, so nice. Really solid scores throughout the team. Had a 58 from Murphy Reed drop off. So pretty solid. 61 from Davidson, probably the lowest this week. So well done, Matt. Great scoring. I'll see if we've missed anyone else in the big scorers. So Max Holmes bounced back this week with a 147. Sam Walsh with a 141, boosting his average up above 100. Zach Butters, so 2 games averaging at 121 now. So don't know what the break even would look like. A 146, so could lose a little bit of value, but don't need to rush to get him. Hugh McCluggage continues to smash it at the lines with a 135. Nick Dacos with a 134, so break even at 121. So did slightly uptick in price, but I think he has essentially bottomed out. Nas with a 133, so great keeper option in defence. George Hewitt's going well, averaging 120 for the season. Bailey Smith up there. Matt Rowell bounced back this week with a 126 for those that bought a couple of weeks ago. Grundy and Cameron, a couple of ruck options. Any real value standouts up around here? A few in the 400s. Ned Long, so he's made another 20k, so he's 80k up on his cheapest, but he should have a nice 28 break even, so not the strongest break even there. But I think that's a very inconsistent role. Keane with a 124 as a cheap defender. So actually lost money making a 112 this week, so might have had a real dirty score in there. Miller with a 109. But I don't think there's anything too crazy to report on there as we get into double digits almost. I guess Powell Peppers for his price, the 101 is really good. And then we're into the double digits. But I don't want that. I want break evens. So a couple of guys on the bubble at the top this week, Caden Cleary and Tom Gross. So Cleary with a 81 off the back of what would that be, 66. So looks pretty good if the job security's there. Gross 82 this week after a 51. So Cleary probably got the slightly better break even. Zach Reed has reset his break even with that 104, so a negative 60 this week. Sandy Brock on the bubble, so just a 39 after a 80 in the first game. So I guess at bottom dollar, you could do worse than that. Park him at D8 perhaps. Erasmus just needs another game. Bice continues to smash it. Camporelli is still waiting for game 3. Same with Patton. Jai Menzies scored a 92 this week, but I guess the other two games he didn't score. Uh, he scored 60 points, so averaging 30 in the first two. So against West Coast as a forward is nice, but probably not worth it. Um, Johnson's waiting for game 3. Sardis is still on the bubble. Not sure what's going on there. The other one that I'm interested in this week is El Houli. So very popular preseason cheapie. Scored 67 this week, albeit off the back of a 16 as a sub in the first game. But I guess my theory with him is as a practicing Muslim, he was probably going through Ramadan at the start of the year. So I can't imagine that that's any fun for an athlete. I know Payne Haas does it in the NRL, but he is a freak. Um, so I think maybe that was the reason why he missed out a bit earlier in the season, was just because of religious beliefs. So I think he might be one that is a really good downgrade option in defence this week over a Brock potentially. So in saying that, we'll have a look at my team going into this week. So I guess with the DPPs now as well, we do have a bit more flexibility. So we've got Henderson and Ashcroft can move into the forward line. Um, I think, yeah, Davidson can move back into the midfield as a change. McRae obviously has got mid status now. I think Daniel didn't have it before as well. So, but we'll lock them in the forward line. Fryer has mid status, but I don't know how useful that is if we're going to trade him this week. So I guess we'll do that move. So as I said, Fryer out. And given the surge in Trainer and Reed becoming useful on-field options, I'm thinking we can go cheap at the back. And as I said, I can understand if you needed the money to put Park Brock there, but I'm going to go with Al Houli. I just think there's a little bit more long-term cash gen options there. And so then that gives us 277k to upgrade. So I guess the ideal upgrade target would be Nick Dacos. So if we get out of this, go back to the round 5 summary, and we'll sort by points because he was fairly high up the list. If it'll work. Just thinking about it. There we go. Click again. So we need to find 307k. So I guess while it would be handy to cash out Davidson at the peak, it doesn't quite work in one trade. So I think the obvious one is, so Driscoll's still probably 4 weeks away. I think he'll still make money when he comes back, so it would be a nice hold. So I am leaning towards trading him out. But if we did want to hold him, we could do it. We would just have to boost. So we activate the boost. So then we'd trade Davidson out. He has peaked in price, done his job. We can push Levi Ashcroft into the forward line. And so then we just need to find 14k. So if we go with, um, I'll just swap Hewitt in there for a second. So we can bring in Cleary, which would be nice. And then if we trade out Hewitt, it's had a little meltdown here. It probably won't let me do the trades. Yeah. So I'll just have to undo this a bit. There we go. Now I can do it, I think. Round 5. Just scroll from the top. He's not that far down the list. So we have used a fourth boost, but you know what? I don't think it really matters because we've now got ourselves a bit of Nick Dacos. Um, so if we just have a bit of a look through the team, I'll swap El Hooley into D8 basically. So if Stewart plays, it would be nice, but if not, we've got Trainer as a bit of cover. These other guys are doing well enough that we could play them on field. We've now got Dacos in at M2, so you can see like Finn Callahan at M7 is pretty nice, and obviously this would normally be a Driscoll, but we do hope Sardis can cover and come back this week. Failing that, Hall's going okay. Henderson, if we have to, we'll play. Um, and then the forward line looks really good. I guess the rucks are fine. Two sort of elite level rucks in theory. Cherry's not doing too well at the moment. But then the forward line looks really nice. Like, obviously, no Bailey Smith. But aside from that, these six score well enough. And then we've got Lindsay as the flex as well. So it could even be potentially, pushing Lindsay into the midfield if we need, and playing like a Cleary this week. We would have to do a bit of DPP sort of stuff like this. So I guess, we do have that bit of coverage there with the flex, with the forwards and the mids. But I'll just swing it back to the way it was because that's the hope. So yeah, so if Sardis plays, he plays in the midfield. Um, well, actually, what we could do, I suppose, is I'll play Lindsay. And I'll just set up like this, and then if Sardis plays, we'll just reverse those three around so that Sardis drops into the flex, I think, is the play. And so then VC and C, so Lions, Collingwood at the Gabba. So I guess we've just brought Dacos in, so it probably makes sense to VC him. If you wanted to VC Ashcroft, either Ashcroft. Obviously, if you've got a Neil, Dunkley, Zorko, plenty of great options to VC in that game. And then Freo against Melbourne is a nice matchup for Brayshaw, I think. Um, anyone else we would trust? So Jack McRae against his old team might have something to prove on a Sunday night. Could be an interesting one there. Don't think I'm brave enough to do a Horn Francis or anything like that, or a Sheasel. Cherry against Carlton. So I guess a VC option there if you like TDK against a struggling Cherry, or vice versa. But I'm going to just go with my two big hitters in the midfield, I think. So that's how we'll set it up for now. Obviously, it is subject to change depending on teams. On, I guess, Thursday night, Dacos is locked in by then, so that's fine. And I think we can wrap the video up there. So, as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the AFL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.